You know, I can honestly say as we're taking the offering that Rob and Maria and Vinny and Anthony have been a blessing to us since the time they stepped into the church. And everybody attest to that? Amen? They're just a real blessing of a family. This is a great day. It's a great day that somebody wants to openly give their testimony. I mean, he's been videoing everybody else's testimony, and now it's his day. And he's on video with 3 cameras. 3 cameras in front of him and a live audience. But we're so glad that Rob is here today. His real name, by the way, is, well, he'll tell you when he gets up here. There's a lot of things about Rob you need to know. He's full of energy. There's been many prayer meetings and other times when he comes and then he goes to the gym after prayer meeting. And he's still rolling. Rob's got this family's a blessing. And I remember speaking at First Baptist of Patchogue, where they were attending in the past, and suddenly they visited here. And it's just been a blessing to have them here. They are part of this family and fit in with us so well. And God knows what he's doing. And so on that note, without further ado, let's bring up Rob Robinson, who also has another name, if he wants to say it. Trying to get him laughing. And can he take his mask off up here? Is he allowed to?
You won't be able to hear me.
Yeah, take it off.
All right. Hello, everybody. Back again to tell you a little bit about how I came to Christ. And here I am. I've been a ball of nerves for days and stuff. And finally here to give a testimony of my life. So, basically, let's start off. He knows when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows when you've been bad or good. So repent and trust in Jesus. So that's amazing. So in general, my real name, my technical name is Ulysses, but I go by the name Rob. My father always called me Rob. And, they call my father Buster. So we both had different names other than our, regular names. My name is Ulysses. My father's name, I'm a junior. So, that's pretty much what it is. But I'm pretty much a mixed breed. So we're talking about race and everything. I'm pretty much the League of Nations in one. So I'm black and white, but there's many branches of nationalities off of that. So I'm pretty much everything. So I think it's awesome. But when I was a young kid, I struggled with a sense of identity. I didn't know who I was. Should I hang out with the white kids, the black kids? I didn't know who I was for a long time. And at that young, I didn't really have Jesus, but it was definitely a struggle. My father was a lot older than my mother, about 26 years older. So yeah, parent-teacher conferences were really tough. Because they just like, oh, your grandpa's here, and I'm like, oh man, but we got through that. My energy is like off the charts. All the time I just feel like a fireball of energy, just radioactive. I can't even explain it. It's like, and when I was a kid, it was even worse. So I couldn't sit still in school. It's a good thing I had somewhat of a head on my shoulders, so I was able to do well in school even though I wasn't able to pay attention. My progress reports were always, doesn't pay attention in class, never sit still, but the grades were good, so it was decent. But all this energy, I didn't ride a bike until I was age 11. So here I am just running around the streets, just running. All I would do was run. That's it, from my friend's house, from my house to my friends. So I'm a lot calmer now, a lot calmer. But I was out of hand. And I don't know how my father and mother dealt with my energy, but it was definitely crazy. My father was pretty kind of awkward when I was a kid. I got hand-me-downs. I was the oldest kid in the house, but I was wondering how I got hand-me-downs. My father used to love to shop the thrift shop. So I'm like, oh man, when your image is being grown in school and you got bell bottoms when it wasn't time for bell bottoms, I was a little embarrassed. So, yeah, that was tough. My father had to eat me a lot of weird stuff. So, as a kid, I ate my Brussels sprouts. I was pretty good on eating the greens. I ate liverwurst, sardines. So I ate a lot of weird stuff because my father was pretty old school. He was a lot older, so he fed me all this weird stuff, and I ate it. So, as a teenager, I remember just the same thing, just a lot of energy. crazy, just couldn't sit still. My father was bringing us to church all the time, but I remember being in a Catholic church, and I just remember going there. It was just lifeless, and and just people just singing like in monotone, and I was like, the best part of my day was lighting the candles. And all of a sudden, my father, he brought me to another church. He's like, listen, we're going to another church. Let me bring you to another church. So we went to this Pentecostal church. It wasn't the crazy Pentecostal, like everybody's going crazy, but it was definitely focused on God, and I learned a lot of stuff. He put me in Royal Rangers, so that was a Christian Cub Scouts where I learned how to survive in the wild. So that was pretty good. I actually enjoyed that. We got the sleepaway camp for like a week or two. I was a mischievous kid because I had too much energy, so I got in so much trouble that they talked to my father, and I was like, I got to calm it down a little before I get kicked out of here. My father kills me. So yeah, I was definitely crazy. So in the church, I got baptized when I was 14 years old. Now, I don't know the reasoning why I got baptized. I don't know if it was because I was just supposed to and I just went through the motions and got baptized, but I did get baptized, and I did start following Jesus Christ pretty strongly at like age 15, 16. I didn't listen to anything but Christian music. I used to pray a lot, had a very soft heart and all this stuff, and I was very humble when I was like 15, 16 or something like that. It was when I was fresh in high school. And then, my father was a very special part of my life. He was an amazing guy. I owe it all to Jesus Christ and working through my father to show me a really good example, because without my father, I could have taken a lot of different roads. I grew up in a decently tough neighborhood where I got beat up a lot when I was a kid. I got messed with. So, I was a pretty small guy. I was 14 years old. I was about 100 pounds. So, I was a lightweight, man. A couple of times my father got me my first weight set, my first bench. I was just tired of getting beat up. So, started lifting weights. I started training, and I got decently strong. Still skinny, but strong enough to hold my own. And these people stopped messing with me a lot. So, it was a little bit of relief from that. I was fast. So running, I was just a blazing fast runner. I don't think I've ever beaten in a foot race, which is, with these little short legs, it's amazing. So but that's all I used to do. It's just train all day, run, and that's it. And, it's amazing, the weights and everything. I used to put rocks in the bucket because we didn't have a lot of money, so I put rocks in the bucket and just start curling them, just start taking care of my body. And I started to get really focused and centralized on, building a better body and trying to be, stronger, to make sure nothing happens to me anymore, that no one could, hurt me physically anymore. And, that's when my father, he basically, he was looking out for me my whole life. One day, there was an incident in King Cullen where my father he was a security guard, and I was working there. We just so happened to work in the same store. So there was an incident where a guy hit my father with an a closed fist, and then, my father got hurt, and I went after the guy, and, I did things I shouldn't have done to the guy. I beat him up pretty good, but that was the first time that I ever felt like that kind of anger and stuff like that I ever felt like that. I wanted to protect my father, and it was definitely out of the ordinary. Shortly after that, my father, he got sick. So basically, my father worked up to the very day he pretty much passed away, until the day he went to the hospital. So he was a hard worker. He was pretty much an old man. He was in his 70s working, trying to feed 3 teenagers, because I have 2 younger brothers. So I'm the oldest. So he had me when he was like 51. Yeah, my other brother, I got a 3 younger brother and a 9-year-old younger brother. So my father he worked late. He had a lot of military experience, the military life all before he had us. So that was amazing. I wish I would have learned more about my father, but I was a teenager. I was interested in dating, ball, playing ball, and that's it. So my father got sick. I just remember him sitting on a milk crate, and he couldn't do anything. He just couldn't stand and anything like that. My father was a warrior. So my father went out there, he made it happen. And my father, he put everything into it. And I wanted to be just like that. I wanted to be just like my father. So we took him to the hospital. He had prostate cancer that he didn't get checked out. So it got everywhere. And basically he succumbed 3 weeks later. I just remember memories of him, that I guess that death breathing where he's like, just like, that's etched in my mind. And, that hurt me a lot. And what that did to me was it started to destroy my emotional connection with people. And I just didn't want to feel that anymore, that hurt and that pain no more. So I started, pulling away from people, and I started trying to isolate myself. And, I was still extremely energetic. I was nice on the outside. I was very well spoken, but I wouldn't let anybody into my inner circle. So I kept a lot of my life secretive, and I wouldn't talk to anybody a lot. But I would accumulate a lot of information from everybody else, and I would interview everybody, try to see their mistakes, and try not to make the same mistakes as them. But I wouldn't be forthcoming with a lot of information, so it was very secretive. The information that I'm giving you today is probably the most information that I've told anybody in one sitting at one time. So I'm pretty secretive. I'm pretty quiet guy, and I'm pretty reserved. And when my father passed away, I moved out of my house, because me and mom weren't getting along too well. So I moved out and I was on my own. First, I would move into my little brother's godparents' house. It was good, but after a couple of months, he's like, "It's time for you to go." So I'm like, "All right, no problems." After that, I had a really rough run with life. So I was, I moved into a house where I was sleeping on a floor in a sleeping bag for $70 a week. And she had 2 sons, so I was sleeping in the son's room. So that was my life. I really had that. And listen, thanks God for her, that lady, that she gave me a home, that I was sleeping in that sleeping bag on the floor. And I was working at just pretty much a simple job. I didn't have anything. I didn't have a car. I used to ride my bike to work for about 1.5 years, 2 years. And, through all kinds of weather. And it was crazy. After that, I moved into a house where I didn't know at the time, but it was a crack house. And basically I would go home and go into my room, and you'd see people with just glazed eyes. And I was like, what is all this? So I moved out of there within a month, because I'm like, I don't think I'm safe here. And then I moved into my own place. So I had a place of my own. It was a room. All it was a room, simple room. And I just lived there for a while. I met Maria. And when I met Maria, it was, pretty fast start. We weren't living for Christ. That's when I was drifting away. I had a problem with, 5 green leaves, which for the younger generation, I'm not going to go into that, but we had that problem. And then, I met Maria. So when I met Maria, I knew that she was the one. I'm like, this is a woman that I'm going to marry. I knew it all. I could just feel it. I'm like, man, I'm going to marry this girl. And I guess the other women that I was kind of seeing, they were gone. Got rid of them. I was with Maria. And we started off, we moved in together, which wasn't living for Christ. But the Lord did see the future. The problem is I don't see the future. We don't all see the future, but the Lord, He sees the future. He saw me today standing at this pulpit, speaking these words to you. And it's amazing how this happened, So pretty much she had a good upbringing and everything like that. So now I'm bringing her from a nice upbringing to a land of poverty and all this stuff. I didn't have 2 nickels to rub together. I had nothing. So we moved out of that house because the room was too small. My landlord was really nice. She kept the house at 90 degrees, which I love the heat. I'm a heat fanatic. I love it. I could tolerate heat to 90, 95. It could be 100 degrees. I love it. So we moved out. We went to another place, and we were living in an apartment. We couldn't live there because the people upstairs were up all night walking around. And then all of a sudden, this is the first sign that I really saw from the Lord, which was amazing. When I was in that apartment and we moved out, I said, listen, I got nothing for you. I was talking to Maria. I said, I got nothing for you. I'm so poor, I can't even give you anything. I can't give you any kind of a life. I said, let me just leave, just leave me, go back to your mother's house, and just, let me just live in my car. So all of a sudden I get a phone call from my mother. She's like, your dummy friend, Jesse, just moved out of the house. He's been there for 6 years. He just moved out. Do you want to stay here? I'm like, okay, so let's do this. So I moved in, Still, it wasn't the right living situation because, God doesn't like us living together before marriage, but God saw the future. He saw the future. So we're living like that. I had an emotional attachment problem with her. It almost destroyed our marriage and stuff like that because we got married pretty shortly after we had the kids. So we had the kids, then we had and there was things that I did that I regret a lot now where I had, the kids, where she was sick and stuff like that, and I would just leave. I'd go out and play ball. I didn't care about it. I just wanted to, do my own thing. I didn't want to deal with any hurt and no pain or anything like that. I just wanted to be my own man and just leave everybody to the side. And it started getting really bad to where, and I figured in days, maybe Maria might leave me. And I was like, I guess, I can't fix this. I don't know how to fix it. So, go through life and stuff like that, and I isolate myself further and further. I would go outside, I would pick weeds by myself by hand, and Maria would tell me to come in, let's spend some time together. And I'd be like, nah, I don't want to do it. I just want to finish picking these weeds. It would be dark, and I could hardly see, and I was still picking the weeds, just to be by myself. I go to the park by myself, I go to the beach by myself, I would do everything by myself. I was, starting to become a loner, and I know that the Lord doesn't want us to be like that. He wants us to be connected with everybody, connected with each other. And I thank the Lord for Maria. I mean, He's done such wonderful things in my life. It's amazing. The things that have happened in my life, the extreme senses that He's given me. Where there was a time where Maria was lost and I couldn't find her. She's like, "Come and get me." I'm like, "Where are you?" She's like, "I don't know." And the Lord put it upon my heart. I went and got her. 5, 6, 7, 8 exits away. I went and took my car, went out, got her, and I got her. I don't know how I did it. I don't know how it happened. It just happened. And this is the thing that really changed my life. This experience that really, really changed my life, and it opened me up to, Christ. He lived. It's amazing how He lives, and it's amazing what He's done. So one day, I'm making Christian videos. So I started. This was my very first day when I started making videos. Now I'm just making them, and I'm going through the motions, and I'm nice with everything, and I'm just making these videos. So the backstory is prior to that, me and Vincent and Anthony weren't getting along very well. It was a very tough, time. They were teenagers. I was, I was who I was. So basically, I put Vincent outside, and all of a sudden he starts reading the Bible and stuff like that. I'll let you give his testimony later on that. But basically, he comes to Christ, and he does a total 180. Like, I've never seen anybody do a 180 like this. And I'm like, he came from being one way to being that certain kid to another way where he was completely transformed. I was amazed and dazzled, and I'm like, I was stunned. I couldn't believe it. And the thing is, I'm like, all right, it's a phase. It'll pass. Didn't pass. It stayed like that. And I'm like, man. I'm like, this is amazing. So then all of a sudden, Anthony came to faith, and he started being on fire for Christ. And I'm like, wait a minute, something's going on here. Like, there's a living God in my house. He lives. So now it was my turn. So all of a sudden, I'm making this video. I make the video, it was Revelation 10:7. And I can't remember it exactly, but I think it was the final trumpet, the angel sounds, the mystery of God will soon be revealed. And when I made the video and I showed them that video, I played the video, and then all of a sudden I got overcome. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, what was that? So they tell me to go to the room and pray. So I go to the room and pray. And when I prayed, I felt like I never felt before. Like, I can't even understand how I felt. I felt, and this is all the pain and craziness that I've ever done in my life. It brought me on my knees, and I started crying. I don't cry. I'm not a crier. emotional. I'm not that kind of guy. I'm not a crier. So I started crying like a baby. And Maria and the boys were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I don't know. So I'm crying. And all of a sudden, once that happened, that feeling left me. And replacing that came a peace above all peaces, above all peace. Like, I can't explain it. It felt like my head was opened up and a warm jar of oil was pouring in my head, and it just came down and it flowed inside, and it energized me to like a different energy. It wasn't erotic, crazy energy. It was godly energy, and I was like, wow. I'm like, I never felt like this before. This is amazing. And ever since that day, it's like, I just, I never turned back. I never looked back. I was just surprised, and I've always kept that. Man, it's get me a little fired up here, and so I'm actually getting emotional. It's pretty, but I just never felt anything like that. And I still can't explain it to this day. And it's every time I read Scripture, especially the Book of Revelation, that charges me up like I never felt before. Like I read the Book of Revelation, especially Revelation 1, where it explains how Jesus looked in the supernatural. It says, I turned to see the voice that was speaking to me. And on turning, I saw 7 gold lampstands. In the midst of the 7 lampsticks, I saw one like the Son of Man, clothed with a long robe and with a golden sash on his chest. The hairs of his head were white like wool, as white as snow. His eyes were like a flame of fire. His feet were like burnished bronze, refined in a furnace, and his voice was like the sound of many waters. In his right hand he held 7 stars, and from his mouth came a sharp 2-edged sword, and with his face was like the sun shining with its full strength. And it says in there, when John saw him, he felt his feet as though he was dead. So that's the amazing sight of Christ, and that's the image that I got of Christ in my head. And man, I was on fire, and I was pumped. And then it's amazing, all the people that I talk to now. I have a different perspective of life, a different outlook on life, and I want to do things for Christ. I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to do all of the bad stuff that I did before. I put away all of the green leaves. I put all that stuff away. I put all away. I put away filthy speech. And that speech was not good, And I always attribute it to, I grew up in the hood. But you know what? I'm not going to attribute it to that. My speech was bad because I let it be bad, and because we have a sinful nature. But the Lord took that away. I said, I wonder what happens if I don't see anything filthy. Now we're going on years, and I'm just because I just put away all that stuff. I don't really get mad at all. My anger is like near zero. Like it doesn't matter what anybody says to me. I don't get angry. Now I was pretty much always like that. It's fine, but now I just have the peace of the Lord that has just come over me. And, I thank the Lord for everything that I have. It just feels like I always say it feels like there's 8 paths that I look like I can take. But it's Jesus pointing down the straight and narrow and saying, come, follow me. And that's where I go. And I have to ignore all these other things, And, it's pretty much, the fire still burns inside of me. I'm being sanctified and repaired. And, huge weight is lifted off my shoulders. I thank the Lord. I thank the Lord, my God, and Jesus. I thank Him for all my strength. And, I tell everybody that the salvation is an awesome thing, because now I know that, being 47 years old, I know that every year that goes by, I'm a year closer to the kingdom. And that's how I look at life now. I'm not a year closer to death. I'm a year closer to life, to true life, to the second life, to the second list. Man, I'm pumped up. I'm pumped up. But, I want to send out, I have special prayers for, Josh, and that's here. Send special prayers out to you. Jose, Brenda, Austin, Anthony G, Leandra, my mother-in-law, my brothers, my mother, and everybody else here, And I thank you for listening to this. And I just want to let everybody know that I do have a YouTube channel called Light of the World. If you want any more questions or anything like that, if you anything you want to ask me, you can definitely ask. Contact me social media. That's Facebook. That's pretty much it. Thank you. Thank you.
So what Rob and I are going to do now, as fast as we can, he's going to go that way, I'm going to go this way, we're going to prepare to go into the water. And so we'll baptize our brother. So Rob said he's a fast guy, I'm a little bit faster. I always tell Sheila, I pride myself I can get ready, shower, nothing like in 3 minutes. So like Superman. Rob, what happened?
I'm here. Hello. Oh, the water's warm. Oh.
And by the way, Rob and Maria cleaned this really well last night, and then we filled it up with water. It's whoever devised this baptismal was really did a good job, because it has a heating element where the water all night goes in and out, and it heats it up real nicely. So, Rob, I'm asking you to stand on this side because you're not 100 pounds anymore yet, and when I baptize you, I'm going to do my stronger arm.
Yeah, I'm a little chunky.
You're 100 pounds?
Yeah. Times something.
So a couple questions before we go. Do you believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God?
Absolutely.
Do you believe that you could be saved by anything but faith in Him?
No,
Is there any work you can do to save yourself?
not at all.
Well, what are you trusting in for your salvation?
Jesus Christ.
And Him alone.
That's it. Him alone.
And from your testimony, it seems like you want to live for Him.
Absolutely.
100%.
100%. If they were 110%, I'd do that.
I think this man is more than ready to be baptized. He's probably been ready to be baptized for years. But you notice, there may be some of you out there too that maybe you were baptized earlier and you're not sure that you trusted Christ. This could be you next. Remember, for me and many of us who were Catholic, we were baptized as babies, didn't even know what was going on. At least when he was baptized, he knew a little bit of what was going on when he was 14. But when he came to me, it seemed evident it would make sense for him to give his testimony and be baptized now. And so that's what we're going to do. I baptize you in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And after this, we'll have to have a foot race outside to see who's quicker. Actually, I'm old. I'm too old for it, and he's not 100 pounds anymore. So you all have a wonderful day, and certainly once our brother gets dried off and comes out there, you can congratulate him and tell him how much you appreciate him. So, it's good to be part of the family of God, isn't it? And brothers and sisters, I think some good things keep coming to this church, and I don't think it's going to stop. So hopefully this pool will be used again. By the way, is there anybody out there who thinks they need to be baptized in the near future? Oh, okay, I see a hand. The next candidate, Jose, so is that a promise? Yes. And a testimony too?
Yes.
All right.